A panda suddenly does what looks like a handstand against a tree, then starts rubbing. It looks funny, but it's actually scent marking. By going higher on the trunk, the panda leaves a stronger signal for others. An infrared camera catches it for a second, then it's gone again. It looks wild, untouched even. It's early morning in the mountains of Sichuan, but this isn't the kind of wilderness people usually imagine. These mountains used to be one big connected forest, until humans moved in. Then roads went in, villages expanded, and farmland spread. Panda numbers dropped a lot. Decades ago, people began planting bamboo corridors, basically stitching broken habitat back together. When a species lives in a habitat we constantly repair, its wildness becomes complicated. Most people pause the first time they see a panda. It just doesn't match our image of a wild animal. Pandas move slowly and eat almost nothing but bamboo. They can spend up to 10 hours a day just chewing. They're not built for speed, and they don't have babies very often either. Honestly, if you look at it the normal way, it seems like an animal that shouldn't survive in the wild at all. But here's the thing. Pandas are wild animals. They've lived like this for millions of years. A long time ago, their ancestors lived in these same mountains. Back then, bamboo was everywhere, almost like a green ocean rolling across the slopes. Those early pandas were smaller, more flexible, and more like typical bears. They ate a wide range of foods: bamboo, fruit, insects, and small animals. They didn't start out as bamboo-only animals. That came later. Because bamboo is evergreen, food stayed available year-round. For pandas, the supply was stable and predictable. With food always there was less pressure to run, fight, or compete. Over time, pandas settled into the lifestyle we see today. They evolved in an environment where life moved at a slower pace. For pandas, this was a peaceful survival strategy. That's why people react to them differently from other wild animals. Pandas look almost like pets, but nobody ever trained them to be that way. And in terms of raw strength, adult pandas are still among the most formidable wild animals left in these mountains. So yes, they're wild. But wild today isn't what it used to be. Right now, wild pandas live in a few isolated mountain forests in western China. It used to be a more connected landscape. Today, much of it has been reshaped by human activity. Roads, villages, and farmland have split one connected forest into separate patches, making it harder for pandas to roam, forage, and find mates across valleys. But there's another constraint. Wild panda numbers are still tied to how much usable habitat exists. So breeding alone is not enough. If panda numbers rise faster than habitat capacity, pressure builds quickly. That's why population recovery and habitat expansion have to move together. To help panda populations recover, conservation teams started connecting these broken areas again. They planted more bamboo and reopened routes between valleys. Pandas still show up on camera traps for only a few seconds. Most of the real tracking happens after that. Teams test droppings, tag the results, and save them in a database. One panda, one season, one valley. At the same time, breeding centers care for pandas in captivity and decide which pairs should breed, so the gene pool stays broad and inbreeding stays low. Behind those quiet forests, there's a lot of human work holding the system together. Even though pandas depend on us a lot now, there's still one thing people try hard to protect: their wildness. In a zoo, every part of a panda's daily life is visible: feeding, resting, moving around. In the wild, it's different. People rarely see pandas directly. Most of the time, researchers get only a few seconds of camera trap footage, if they get anything at all that year. More often, they rely on signs left behind: bent bamboo, fresh bite marks, and piles of droppings. That distance is on purpose. Pandas are wild, but too much human contact can change their behavior. So the rule is simple: help from a distance. And here's what's interesting. People still do a lot for pandas. They track, monitor, and even plan breeding. But they still try to stay out of the pandas' way to preserve their wildness. And when it comes to raising young pandas, the whole approach is kind of weird when you think about it. At first, the cubs stay in semi-wild enclosures, just a few thousand square meters, and are raised by their mothers. After about a year, they move to much bigger enclosures in real panda habitat, around 200,000 square meters, so cubs can learn the basics on their own: how to climb, how to find food, and how to stay alert. So this is the paradox. The less pandas notice us, the better we've done. But doing that is expensive. Breeding, raising cubs, vet care, field tracking, and habitat repair all take serious money year after year. So the next question is simple: where does that money come from? A big part of it comes from the pandas themselves. Pandas attract huge attention. This is China's biggest panda center. People here love pandas, and these crowds came from all over the country to see them. In human care, every panda has a name. Some pandas are basically celebrities. People visit zoos to see them, follow them online, buy panda merch, and donate. That attention turns into funding. In China, the scale is huge. Panda-related revenue can reach roughly $1 to $10 billion. In international cooperation, deals are often reported in the $1 million per year range for a panda pair, usually under multi-year agreements. Then that funding goes back into protection, habitat corridors, infrastructure, research projects, breeding work, and veterinary care. So this is the loop. Pandas draw attention, attention brings money, money supports conservation, and conservation keeps pandas viable. That positive cycle has been running for decades. You could call it the panda economy. For now, that's the balance we're living with. Roughly 1,900 pandas are in the wild, and about 800 are still in human care. The wild side is growing, and that's a good sign.